Now on Sunrise, a key piece of evidence pulled from the bottom of the Columbia. The missing pieces that have investigators one step closer to understanding this nearly 70-year-old cold case. Plus, the city of Portland approves a PGE project despite lots of pushback, how it's expected to impact forest work. Now, your news. Good morning, and thanks for getting up with us on this Saturday morning. I'm Libby Dowsett. Your headlines in just a minute, but first, Celine Stevens is with us this morning with your Saturday forecast.
Good morning, Libby.
Good morning.
We're going to have a really nice weekend, at least for today. We're looking at temperatures starting to warm up as we get into the afternoon. Obviously, it's still cool right now. We're sitting at 43 degrees at the moment, dew point at 36. Those winds only at 8 miles per hour. And again, things are going to warm up as we get into the rest of our Saturday. You can take a look at our satellite. We're staying dry today, so that is the good news. Looks like northern coast of Oregon and southern Washington coast will be seeing some moisture today. Nothing significant, no more than 1/10 of an inch. So really nothing to worry about today in terms of moisture. Temperatures right now sitting at 43 here at home. We're looking at 35 in King City, 37 in Hillsborough. And if we zoom out a little bit, temperatures look like they're sitting in the upper 30s in Eugene, lots of 40s along the coast. And right now, warmer than this time yesterday. Those temperatures looks like 4 degrees warmer in Portland, 6 in Vancouver. And again, we are going to be warming up as we get into the rest of our day. Looks like temperatures, again, along the coast as well, warming up 4 degrees warmer in Newport than this time yesterday. And so today by noon, we're in the mid-50s. We're looking partially sunny. By 6 p.m., we do get to the 60s, but that's when the clouds start to move in. And then by Sunday, we could be seeing some rain. Late Sunday night, we have some moisture moving in. That said, it would be light rain. That goes into Monday, and then by Monday, we're dry. But then Tuesday, more rain comes, and we could actually be looking at a little bit of a wet week. But Libby, we'll talk more about that a little bit later.
All right, Celine, thank you. We begin this morning with the cold case investigators have been trying to solve for nearly 7 decades. They're now closer to a conclusion after a piece of a car was pulled from the bottom of the Columbia River Friday. Catherine Cook has the latest.
We knew it was going to be challenging.
On the Columbia River in Cascade Locks.
They worked and worked and worked.
Days of work ended with this breathtaking moment as crews drew up this old chassis. A huge clue in a 66-year-old cold case and maybe a conclusion to it. Could this be the station wagon that carried the Martin family back in 1958? Mom, Dad, and 3 little girls had driven from Portland to the gorge that December to pick greenery, but never returned.
They're fairly confident that they can make an identification of the car, which is a big step.
Hood River County Sheriff Matt English said the car was submerged in 50 feet of water and 7 feet of debris.
It's been in there for 66 years. And so, it's really rusty and really falling apart.
English said the car did not contain human remains due to debris, but the engine was intact and appeared to be in good shape.
They're going to take that vehicle back to our secure facility. They hope to start processing a bit tonight.
I mean, I've always believed that it was an accident.
Archer Mayo, an independent diver, learned about the Martin case 7 years ago. He discovered the car on this dive last fall. Using police clues, he formed a theory on where the car was buried.
So there was a complication there that nobody knew about. It was this feature of the canal that actually trapped the car. And once I knew that existed, and I actually found that in the Oregon Historical Society in archives. And so I looked at a 130-year-old photograph and instantly solved the 70-year-old mystery.
Friday marked day 2 of retrieval efforts on the Columbia. Ann Anderson, who's followed the case for decades, drove out from Kaiser to watch.
I'm surprised they found it at all. And I thought, well, let's just go up and see what's happening. Obviously, we can't see much.
Months after the Martins went missing, authorities recovered the bodies of the 2 youngest daughters from the river. But the bodies of the couple and their oldest daughter were never found. English says it's possible they'll never know exactly what happened.
This may be as far as we can get because it's really unclear what's left in there.
And that was Catherine Cook reporting. The sheriff tells us crews found at least 3 submerged vehicles during that search. But again, the one they retrieved Friday is the one they were looking for. Crews will not return to the river today. Let's go ahead and get you caught up on this morning's headlines. Friday, a jury convicted a man for trying to kill several Portland police officers. It happened in 2021 when officers tried to pull over 43-year-old Joshua DeGurnis in Southeast Portland's Lentz neighborhood. He pulled out a gun after crashing into a tree and getting pepper sprayed. Officers fired back and hit DeGurnis, who survived. His sentencing is scheduled for next month. Clackamas County Commissioner Melissa Fireside resigned Friday after just 63 days on the job. Fireside was arraigned Wednesday on 8 felony charges. She's accused of stealing several $1,000s from an elderly man and forging signatures, including that of a state representative. The Board of Commissioners told us they'll discuss a timeline for selecting a replacement at next Tuesday's board meeting. And the City of Portland has approved PGE's proposal to install a new transmission line within Forest Park. This will mean cutting down about 400 trees on about 5 acres. The city got quite a bit of opposition to the plan, from people worried about damaging the ecosystem to others concerned about wildfire risk. Ultimately, the city official who approved the permit said the project was needed. To national news, where the medical examiner in New Mexico shared shocking new details in the death of Gene Hackman and his wife. NBC's Liz Kreutz is in Santa Fe with more on the mystery revealed.
Legendary actor Gene Hackman died of heart disease complicated by advanced Alzheimer's. The 95-year-old alone for several days after his wife Betsy Arakawa died first in their Santa Fe home.
I can tell you that he was in an advanced state of Alzheimer's, and it's quite possible that he was not aware that she was deceased.
The medical investigator saying an autopsy shows 65-year-old Arakawa died of hantavirus, an infection spread by contact with rodent droppings that can be deadly in roughly 40% of cases as fluid builds up in the lungs.
A person can die very quickly without medical treatment.
Officials laying out a timeline, saying the last known sighting and communication from Arakawa was February 11th, when she was running errands, picking up groceries and dog food before returning home, and was not heard from since.
Numerous emails were unopened on her computer on February 11th. There was no additional outgoing communication from her or known activity after February 11th.
Police believe Hackman was likely in the home for days, with his pacemaker showing his last activity a week after his wife's death.
Do you believe, given his Alzheimer's status, that Mr. Hackman was able to live on his own and survive for those 7 days?
I'm not aware of what his normal daily functioning capability was. He was in a very poor state of health. He had significant heart disease, and I think ultimately that is what resulted in his death.
What about starvation?
There was no food in his stomach, which means he had not eaten recently, but he had also no evidence of dehydration.
Kreutz reporting the couple's dog Zinna that died in her crate is undergoing a necropsy, but officials believe it's possible she starved. Hackman was 95 years old. His wife was 65.